Hello everyone, myself Dr. Smriti Mathur, working as an assistant professor at Babu Banarsi Das University, Lucknow. Today we will talk about interpersonal behavior and Johari window. These two are one of the most important concept of organizational behavior. Okay. When we talk about our day-to-day life, every day we all have some interaction or relation with some person for some purpose, be at home, in the school, at the workplace, in the market, on the road, and etc. Our own experiences in this regard suggest that we experience joy in some relationship, upset in some others, and unaffected at all in some others. Why does this happen? Have you ever thought about this? Why does this happen? An understanding of different relationships, giving different experiences will help us understand and improve our relationships with others. This becomes particularly important in our formal relationships at workplace, where we have to interact with others for meeting our specific purposes. For example, a person on the work in an organization has to interact or deal with three types of person: superior, colleagues, and subordinate. Besides this, the same person has also to interact or deal with different types of other persons like consumers, customers, suppliers, public, and government officials. There is no gainsaying at the fact that one's success in meeting his or her purpose from other depends on how effectively he or she deals or interacts with other. So effective relationship or interactions with others depends on knowing oneself and others as well. That is improving interpersonal skills. While working in an organization, we interact with one another. In these interactions, people actually affect each other's behavior. For example, A affects B's behavior and gets affected by B's behavior. Such interaction and their impacts are collectively known as interpersonal behavior. When we talk about interpersonal behavior, the main characteristics of interpersonal behavior includes your interactive. It involves interaction among people. One-to-one interaction, that is employee interacts with his or her peers, superior and subordinates. One-to-group interaction, that is a sales manager gives instructions to all the branch manager in a meeting. Group-to-one basis, a group of office clerks make a request or suggestion to their boss. Group-to-group basis, example of meeting between marketing department and production department. Another feature includes coordination. Interaction among people in an organization provides the clue that helps to maintain cooperation and teamwork between different parts of the organization. Another characteristic is the dyadic relationship, that is interaction among people are usually paired relationship, two-person contacts, and cooperative or conflicting. Interpersonal behavior can be either cooperative or conflicting. When the interaction among people are mutually gratifying, it is cooperative behavior and such behavior helps in achieving the goal of the organization and provides satisfaction to the interacting parties. So cooperative interpersonal behavior is useful for the organization and its members. Now when we talk about transactional analysis is a technique that is used to help people better understand their own and others' behavior, especially in interpersonal relationship. It is useful or helpful in analyzing and understanding interpersonal behavior. When two individuals interact, one of them responds to the other. This is called a social transaction, and the study of these transactions is known as transactional analysis. Dr. Eric Berne developed transactional analysis for psychotherapy in 1950. This model was considered to explain the concept of interpersonal behavior. The model was given to analyze and understand the concept of interpersonal behavior. It explains how one interacts in society, which is known as social transaction. When we talk about transactional analysis involves analysis of different factors. Different factors includes study of awareness, ego state, analysis of transactions, and study of life position. So we will start studying about these factors one by one. So we have to understand this. Now, study of awareness. Everyone interacts with others with an image of self and others. The image is both conscious and unconscious. The two images may be called interself, which forms the basis of the dyadic relationship. Joseph Luft and Harrington Ingham has developed a diagram for understanding different levels of self-awareness. It was named as Johari window. Johari window is generally used in self-help groups in exercises which help a person to learn and discover things about themselves, like heuristic exercises. It is a method used for self-discovery. It is a simple and useful model for illustrating and improving self-awareness and mutual understanding between individuals within a group. This group can also be used to assess and improve groups' relationship with other groups. The model was first published in the Proceedings of the Western Training Laboratory in Group Development by UCLA Extension Office in 1955 and was later expanded by Joseph Luft. Today, the Johari window model is especially relevant due to modern emphasis on an influence of soft skill, behavior, empathy, cooperation, intergroup development, and interpersonal development. Johari window was called as Johari after combining first name of Luft and Ingham. Okay, that is Joe and Harry. In early publication, the word appears as Johari. Okay. The Johari window soon became a widely used model for understanding and training self-awareness. This model is also referred to as disclosure feedback model of self-awareness, and by some people an information processing tool. This actually represents information, that is feeling, experience, views, attitudes, skills, intentions, motivation, etc. within or about a person in relation to their group from 4 perspectives. That is, Johari window terminology refers to self and others. Self means oneself, that is a person subject to the Johari window analysis. Other means other person, that is person, group or team. This slide clearly shows you this model, that is a Johari window. The 4 Johari window perspectives are called regions, areas or quadrants. Each of these regions contains and represent information, that is feelings, motivation, etc. Known about the person in terms of whether the information is known or unknown by a person, and whether the information is known or unknown by others in a group. So you can see here it has 4 regions, 4 areas or quadrants or perspectives. Okay, when we talk about this, what is known by the person about himself or herself? It is also called as open area, open self, free area, free self, or the arena. Second area is what is unknown by the person about him or herself but which others know. That is the blind area, blind self, or blind spot. Third one is when the person knows about him or herself but others do not know. That is the hidden area, hidden self, avoided area, avoided self, or facade. And fourth one is what is unknown to the person about himself or herself and is also unknown by others. Unknown by others. That is unknown area or unknown self. So we will start understanding about these 4 areas one by one. But remember one thing, this is the standard representation of the Jory window model showing each quadrant of the same size. The Jory window panes can be changed in size to reflect the relevant proportion of each type of knowledge of or about a particular person in a given group or team situation. Let's talk about first area. That is the open self area, free area, public area, or arena. It is also known as area of free activity. This is the information about the person or behavior, attitude, feeling, emotion, knowledge, experience, skill, views known by the person and known by the group. The aim in any group should always be to develop the open area for every person, because when we talk, when we work in this area with others, we are at our most effective and productive, and the group is at its productive too. Open area or the arena area can be seen as the space where good communication and cooperation occur, free from all the distractions, mistrust, confusion, conflict, and misunderstandings. Established team members logically tend to have larger open area than new team members. New team members start with relatively small open area because relatively little knowledge about the new team member is shared. The size of the open area can be expanded horizontally into the blind space by seeing and actively listening to feedback from the group members. This process is known as feedback solicitation. Also, other group members can help a team member expand their open area by offering feedback, sensitivity of course. The size of the open area can also be expanded vertically downward into the hidden or avoided space by the person's disclosure of information, feelings, etc. about him or herself to the group and group members. Also, group members can help a person expand important role in facilitating feedback and disclosure among group members and in directly giving feedback to individuals about their own blind areas. Now, second is blind self, blind area, or blind spot. This region 2 is what is known about a person by others in a group but is unknown by the person him or herself. By seeing or soliciting feedback from others, the aim should be to reduce this area and thereby to increase the open area, that is to increase self-awareness. This blind area is not an effective or productive space for individuals or groups. This blind area could also be referred to as ignorance about oneself or issues in which one is deluded. A blind area could also include issues that others are deliberately withholding from a person. Group members and managers can take some responsibility for helping an individual to reduce their blind area. In turn, increasing the open area by giving sensitive feedback and encouraging disclosure. Managers should promote a climate of non-judgmental feedback and group responses to individual disclosure, which reduces fear and therefore encourages both processes to happen. Third area is your hidden self, hidden area, avoided area or facade. This region is what is known to ourselves but kept hidden from others and therefore unknown to others. This hidden or avoided self represents information, feelings, etc. Anything that a person knows about himself or herself but which is not revealed or is kept hidden from others. The hidden area could also provide sensitivities, fear, hidden agendas, manipulative intentions, secrets, anything that a person knows but does not reveal for whatever reason. It's natural for every personal and private information and feeling to remain hidden. Indeed, certain information feelings have no bearing on the work, so they should remain hidden. However, typically a lot of hidden information is not very personal. It is work or performance related, and so it is better positioned in the open area. Last one is unknown to self or unknown area. This region contains information, feelings, latent abilities, aptitudes, experiences, etc. that are unknown to the person, him or herself, and unknown to others in the group. These unknown issues take a variety of form. They can be feelings, behaviors, attitudes, capabilities, etc., which can be quite close to the surface and which can be positive and useful. Or they can be a deeper aspect of a person's personality, influencing his or her behavior to various degrees. Large unknown areas would typically be expected in younger people and people who lack experiences or self-belief. Examples of unknown factors are that includes an ability that is underestimated or untried through lack of opportunity encouragement, a natural ability or aptitude that a person doesn't realize they possess, a fear or aversion that a person does not know what they have, an unknown illness, repressed or subconscious feelings, conditioned behavior or attitudes from childhood. So when we talk about changes in awareness, awareness in self is not a static and subject to change. Quadrant to which psychological state, that is information known to self and information known to other, is assigned also changes. When we talk about changes in awareness, it includes change in one quadrant will affect change in other quadrant, and hence changes in interpersonal behavior can be noticed. It takes energy to hide, deny or blind to behavior. Threat tends to decrease awareness while mutual trust increases awareness. Forced awareness is undesirable and usually ineffective. Interpersonal learning means a change has taken place. Therefore, when one quadrant enlarges, the other becomes smaller. A large enough area of free activity, more resources, and skill facilitates working with others. If number one quadrant is smaller, it is indicating poor communication. There is universal curiosity about the unknown area due to custom, social training, and diverse fears. Sensitivity means approaching or appreciating the covert aspect of behavior in quadrant numbers 2, 3, and 4 and desire of others to keep them so. Learning about group processes helps to increase awareness. It will increase quadrant number 1 for both group and individual. Value system of a group and its members may be observed in the way the group deals with unknown in the life of group itself. I hope you all have understood this topic. Thank you so much.